Welcome into your Tuesday edition of Sports Tonight. I am Baillie Burmaster, and we have a lot to get to. We're going to start with the Atlanta Hawks because their injury report has gotten severely lengthy, and we are just 4 games into this season. If you look back at last season, injuries were the name of the game. They had a long time without all 5 starters in. There were times you lost Trae Young, Jalen Johnson to ankle injuries, DeAndre Hunter, you name it. On Monday's Washington matchup with the Wizards that they ended up falling 121 to 119. Basically because of defense, and then Washington was able to just start airing it out, hitting everything from 3. I believe they had a franchise record 21 threes, a lot of those coming in the second half. So the Hawks and Wizards are going to match up again tomorrow, and the injury report for that game has been released, and this is how it sits. And it is all of this is a little bit concerning, so I will run through what we know. DeAndre Hunter, right knee inflammation. He will be questionable for that game. Dyson Daniels is now in the injury report with a right hip flexor strain. He is out for the game but remains day-to-day. Bogdan Bogdanovic, he is battling a hamstring, and he underwent non-invasive surgery, but he is out and will be re-evaluated in 4 weeks. Kobe Buffkin remains out, right shoulder subluxation. He will also be re-evaluated in 4 weeks. Told you about Dyson Daniels being out, DeAndre Hunter questionable. Vit Krejci will be out, and Cody Zeller is also out. So, I mean, this is a lengthy report for just 4 games in. The Hawks are going to need to find someone to step up, especially into the backup point guard for Trae Young. Trae Young spoke in postgame, and we'll hear from him and Quinn Snyder in just a second about, injuries. Last year they dealt with it. This year, how much pressure does that put on himself to perform and find answers? And this team their depth is being challenged early on, and that is not what you wanted to see. You want to believe that, those bench players that come off the bench right away are going to make impacts. Dyson Daniels, him being on this injury report is a big blow because he is someone who has stepped into that starting lineup and has really made ends meet on both, offensively and defensively for this team. So him being out certainly hurts. It would be a game in which you think Keaton Wallace gets a lot of minutes. He actually got the game ball after that Thunder loss because he was able to record his first NBA bucket going up against his brother, actually. It's also notable that Onyeka Okongwu is not on the injury report, so you got to believe that he might be the guy to step in since he's not on the injury report. Whether Hunter plays or not, it likely means another start for Zachary Reese-Shea. He started on Monday, and that was kind of all the talk was the rookies. You had the first overall pick in Zachary Reese-Shea, and then the second pick, Alex Sarr, going up against each other, but neither of the rookies really did a whole lot in that game. I think combined they had 11 points. But he could start in place of Daniels and play alongside Hunter. If Hunter is out too, it'd be interesting to see how the Hawks deal their starting lineup. It's going to be the 4th straight game that Bogey misses, and Buffkin has not played this season. And when you talk about Buffkin, talk about a kid who literally his entire career as a Hawk has just been riddled with injuries. Not a good look. I doubt that's what he wants, and I highly doubt that's what the Hawks organization wants. But let's listen in to what Quinn Snyder and Trae Young had to say after the loss at home to Washington.
We didn't have depth, so Bogey and O and Hunt and Kobe and now Beat. But that's, I thought there were things that, we can't control those things. So, I like the fact, it was like a 10-point game. We came back and, had the final possession. So, the biggest thing we can do is just to try to execute in the things that we can and do our best to overcome that and, not point to it. Guys try to get healthy, and the guys that we have, be ready to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Garrison's story really goes back to like last October. Last November, there was a point where, it's hard when you're an NBA player and, oftentimes opportunities aren't readily available. You can, these are the best players in the world, and Garrison's a guy that's just had to be mentally tough and stay ready to go. And sure enough, that this is invariably these things happen, unfortunately. And obviously, he's someone that we trust and his teammates trust, and he can shoot the ball. There's a level of competitiveness and toughness to him, and I think he's been able, in his head, to be a great teammate, whether he's called upon to play or not. And usually, when you're able to do that, and that's something that's incredibly difficult. When you do that, you're more often than not, you're ready to go and you're rewarded for it. And so it was good to see that, and he's gonna continue to do that.
Coach, in a game with such fine margins, there was that play of Trey. It looked like it should have been a 4-point play. They caught it on the floor. Could you not challenge?
What's that?
Could you challenge that call?
No.
You can't challenge
play.
that?
No, it was a 2-shot foul. No. We didn't say we can't challenge the timing of it.
But it was the 3-pointer that went in.
What's that?
The 4-point play.
I'd have to go back and look at our challenge, folks. We didn't challenge.
Okay, because
I'll give you a better answer.
Yeah, they caught it on the floor, but it was the replay seemed to show that he was in the air.
Right.
But anyway.
Coach, just wondering about that third quarter. I know in the first half it was just 5 turnovers. That third quarter was 10 in that one quarter alone. What happened in that period that you can recall?
I think we were battling fatigue is the best thing that I could say, and they were setting their defense where we were playing against a set defense a lot, and their length bothered us some. I'd have to look at the turnovers themselves. Some of them were careless, and other times they made plays, but I thought we were battling fatigue during the course of the night, and sometimes your decisions go when that happens.
And then for Larry Nance Jr., did he show you anything different than what you already knew tonight?
No, Larry's been good. That's been the way he's played, and he gave us good minutes.
Hey, Coach. JJ had a career high today. When he's scoring like that, especially Trey struggled from the field, what does that help you guys? How does that open up the offensive floor?
Well, he was terrific tonight, as you mentioned. And, JJ's, when he's attacking the rim, and is making plays for other people, his offense has a way of coming to him and making quick decisions. And, he was great tonight. He found a real rhythm, and, that's the way that we need him to play.
A big shooting night for them. I mean, how did you feel tonight? You guys contested some of the shots that they were trying to knock down, especially in that third quarter with Kuzma.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a different guy. Early it was Poole, and then it was Kispert and Kuzma. And, there's a fine line there between when your hand's up and you're contesting or trying to take the shot away and potentially fouling. So, I'd have to look at it again and see. You always feel like you can do a little bit more when guys are making shots, and I think he was 0 of 9 their first couple games, but he's a good player, and he made them tonight.
Coach, obviously it's not just one possession or one play, but on that final possession, is that kind of what you guys were looking for, and maybe not setting a screen for Trey at all to get free?
Yeah, well, we wanted to give him space. Oftentimes if he's in the front court like that, we needed to get him open, and he did, and we've got him with the ball in the open floor, and I think Coulibaly's length bothered him, but that's a shot that he's taken and made, and glad we got him the ball and he had space. And
I mean, they hit some really tough shots. A lot. I mean, Jalen had a lot of contests. I mean, Kuz hit a lot of shots with contested hands in his face. Kispert hit a couple. I mean, obviously you feel like anytime they make shots, you can do better. Some of the shots, they were really tough on them, and they made shots, and you don't ever want to say you want to live with some, but, I mean, you got to live with some of those, but we could have been better all around for sure.
How difficult is things right now, especially with you guys already being thin at guard, and then you lose V during this game? How difficult is that, and how much more pressure does that put on you to just kind of play more minutes and be expected to do more?
Yeah, it's not great. It's not fun. Obviously, I wish my team was full and healthy. It feels like I've been through this a lot since I've been here every year. So just wish I could have everybody out there with me. I know it'd make a lot of things a lot more easier for me. But they're not. We got to figure it out. I mean, it's a next man up mentality with this league. I know that's very cliche and everybody says it, but we gotta live by it, and we gotta move forward.
As we mentioned, they are back in action tomorrow, and we will keep you posted on that as well. Let's switch gears to football. The second-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, who sit at 6-1, will travel to Jacksonville to face the Florida Gators for 3 at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville. Before we talk a little bit about what's going on there, I do want to look at the latest predictions in ESPN for the updated college football playoff predictions, because they are interesting. ESPN projects that Georgia will win the SEC championship and secure the number 2 seed in the playoff, which is a first round bye. Obviously, it's not as easy as that because winning in the SEC is hard, but they could end the season tied with several other one-loss teams in the SEC. Texas, Tennessee, LSU all have one conference loss. That's as it sits right now. Georgia owns a tiebreaker over Texas thanks to their head-to-head win. Ironically enough, the 3 remaining games are against Florida, Tennessee, and Ole Miss, which offers the Bulldogs a chance to just further prove their resume. I mean, they've had one of the hardest schedules, if not in the SEC, then in the nation. Georgia's most likely opponent in the playoff is predicted to be 7th-seeded Texas once again, who Georgia would have played for the second time if that does happen. So very, very interesting. Texas would match up with Boise State in this projection. Texas would win to face Georgia again. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I think everyone would love to see a game like that again. Also worth mentioning, the mayor of Jacksonville, during a press conference on Tuesday, talked about the future of Florida Georgia in Jacksonville. That new contract would have to be signed by the University of Florida and Georgia to keep the traditional rivalry game in Jacksonville from 2028 to beyond. Why there is some issue here, obviously contracts come up, but the reason that game wouldn't continue in Jacksonville until 2028 is because Everbank Stadium is undergoing a renovation project that will ship the Florida-Georgia battle to 2 other neutral sites in 2026 and 2027. But she seemed hopeful and optimistic that they could figure out a new contract. But, coming off of a bye, the Georgia Bulldogs have a lot of momentum that they're taking down south. Let's hear from Arian Smith and Chas Chambliss about the scouting report they did on themselves this week.
Aaron, Coach Smart was talking about the unique environment of playing in Jacksonville. You've been through this a few times. Just what would you tell guys about what they're gearing up for, what they're going to experience on Saturday?
I'd probably say you're gearing up for a bring your own juice game, Coach says. Obviously when we warm up and go out there and warm up, it's just quiet. And it's just like you don't hear anything when you take off your headset. So I put some music in and just try to get myself energized and ready for the game, because when we come out in the tunnel, it's going to be packed and loud.
Arian, as far as Trevor goes, Coach Trevor is going to be playing against his former team. Has he ever once mentioned what it was like over there, and how do you think he's approaching this game, quietly approaching this ball game Saturday?
Yeah, Coach always tells us and emphasizes connection and on our team. So he just says how they didn't have what we have over here. So he takes a lot of gratitude in that being over here. So he didn't really talk about the game yet. I'm sure as the week goes, we'll talk more. But I'm sure it's personal for him, just like it's personal for me, because that's where I'm from. So.
Would you, Carson after the Texas game said, I don't know, I've been a little off. I don't know what it is. I need to play better. How would you assess his play so far, and what do you think about what he needs to do better, if anything?
I'd probably say he don't really need to do much better as quarterback. He does all the things he needs to do as a quarterback for us, like checks or make sure we're in the right run or right protection. I'm sure he's talking about things like he missed a throw, or we missed a catch or something on offense, taking accountability, because that's the person he is. So I'd probably say nothing. We just got to play better as an offense and be all 11 of us on the same page and for that play to work. So I'd probably say that.
Two things. One, you mentioned you're obviously from that area. Were you a Gator fan growing up?
I really didn't have a favorite college growing up, which is crazy. But not really. I watched them growing up, but I wasn't really a fan of them.
And what was maybe your earliest memory of this rivalry? Do you have one?
Earliest memory? Honestly, probably was it my sophomore or freshman year? I don't think I played in that game, but it was my first time traveling. And I remember playing them. I think that was the 2021 season. I Okay, I can't remember. But Lewis Seen coming across the middle, taking off Kyle Pitts. That's what I remember on that game. My first time traveling, it was crazy. Yeah.
Arian, Coach always talks about, each game is special, none's bigger than the next. But what does it mean to beat Florida?
I'd probably say it's personal. Just that borderline rivalry. You already know it's going to be a physical game, so obviously it feels like a good win when we come out of there and our fans are right there cheering for us and we see the other side clearing out. So I'd probably say just I don't know, like it's just one of those games where you just always want to come out as a dominant win.
Aaron, when Coach Smart was talking about you a few minutes ago, he talked about how much he feels like your experience in this offense has set you up for the success you've had. How much do you think that has benefited you, that you've been in this offense, you sort of know the expectations and what it takes to play in this offense?
I'd probably say it's just easier to obviously easier to play and be in the offense and understand all the concepts where we add stuff in and install. So it's just not a surprise when the defense does something and Carson has a check or the offense has changed, the whole thing's just changed and going a different way. So it's easier to anticipate and pick up on things and coverages, being in the positions I play, which is all of them. So it's easier to do that.
What would it mean to the senior class to never lose a game with Florida, something that hasn't been done in decades?
It mean everything to never lose a game. Just able to leaving here and being able to look back and talk about it. Coach tells us it's an honor to do that. So just being able to do that it will mean a lot in the future. Not so much right now because we just want to win.
Over here, what was the bye week like for you all? What did you work on, and how can you take that into this Florida game?
Coach tells us it's really not a bye week; it's a work week because we still practice and do things as if we are playing on Saturday. So going through situational football, Monday through Friday, third down, red area, second and 10, third down. I'll probably say it's just kind of it's just not missing a beat, because a lot of teams, they take advantage of the bye week and not do anything. Sometimes it hurt them, but Coach always enforces we got to get better at the small things and details. So when we do come back that next week, it's just we're never left.
Aaron, I know it's always looking ahead for you guys, but for you personally, going back to just the Texas game just real quick, on that 3rd and 10 defense side, you catch that first down catch. What did that do for your confidence?
It really didn't do much for me, but obviously I caught the ball. But I'll probably say it gives the offense a lot of energy, just life to move on from that another set of downs. We went down and scored, I believe. It gave life to the offense because if I dropped it or I wasn't prepared for the ball, we would have punted the ball, and who knows how the game would have went.
Aaron, we've seen more of Anthony Evans in recent weeks. What has stood out to you in his second season with the team?
I'd probably say his growth. Coming in, not being able to do much on offense because he had people in front of him. He's electric, as you can see. He plays on punt, catches, returns. He's really good in kick return. He's really fast, and he has a lot of he has a special kind of change of direction where he can keep running and keep his speed. That's very special, and it's going to be great to watch in the future.
Hey, how do you guys handle the emotional highs and lows of a season and try to stay off that roller coaster and focus on the task at hand?
I'd probably say Coach Smart always tells us don't ride the wave of emotion. Just try to stay right here, whether it's good or bad. Obviously, when you do something bad, you want to just get mad at yourself or get down at yourself or think negative. And when you do something good, you want to do something out of character, cause a penalty or something like that, or push and shove and throw the ball or something. So I'd probably say just staying level-headed the whole game. And Coach tells us all the time, composure. Just keeping that.
Kirby said after the Texas game that nobody gave you guys a chance to win that game. This is a game where people are expecting Georgia to win. How is it to prepare for a game like this, when everyone thinks it's not going to necessarily be a tight one?
I'd probably say treat it like any other game we play. It doesn't matter who we're playing. Coach always tells us play to our standard. Don't play to an opponent's standard, no matter who they are. So I'll probably say just entering this week and attacking this game like any other game because we know they're going to give us their best shot. So we got to just be able to take a punch when they do.
Aaron, you've grown into a very capable veteran player. Was there a turning point when you reflect back over your career? Obviously, you didn't get to play much because of the injuries, but is there a moment you can look back to and pinpoint when you had an epiphany or just a big change in terms of your commitment or your level of accomplishment here? I'll
probably say this past offseason, me taking accountability of the room and like being the leader and the vocal guy that I like in the past wasn't. I'd probably say just having to do things and coach and be out there and show the young guys how to do it is like a big step that I had to take and that I took advantage of.
Aaron, give us a kind of a recap of your development at UGA. You saw Lad McConkey have a couple of big plays this past week.
My boy Lad.
They talked to him at the press conference. He's like, yeah, I got ready for this at Georgia. Can we get your take on that?
I'd probably say Monday through Friday, Bloody Tuesday. Nothing's gonna prepare you for it until you go through it. People say a lot. Practices here at Georgia are harder than the game. So when you get to the game, everything's easy. Coach makes things so hard, makes things go so fast to where the point, like, when you get to the game, everything slows down and you can, like, just, like, function easier than at practice.
Yeah, you had a big third down catch in that win over Texas. Could you just sort of walk us through that play and from your perspective, what kind of impact that play had on the team and sort of calming them down given how raucous everything was at that point in time?
Obviously, just like a silence moment. Like, they were screaming on third down, like all the stuff was going crazy. And I thought to myself, like, I could tell how the DB was playing. I think they were in quarters, so he was like opening up, letting me like so I wouldn't run past him. So I ran like I was running to go. Then I like did a double move at the top so I could run inside. And as soon as I came out the break, I seen the ball and caught it and just got the first.
I know you said every game counts the same, but what's the one game, the one rival that hits different for you? It just feels different when you're out there.
I'd probably say the Florida game, just because I'm from Florida and growing up, going to camps and like it's like a small world in Florida. Like everybody goes to like places and like does things. Like as a young guy growing up and like camps and stuff like that, you meet a lot of people that go to schools in Florida, and so I have a lot of. I don't think I have that many teammates that play in Florida anymore because they either transferred out or they're in the league. But I had a large amount of people who I played with in high school that went to Florida. So I'm just excited to. Hopefully, I think I got a couple more that still play for Florida. But hopefully, I could be able to see them after the game and just catch up with them and chop it up.
Any more questions for Aaron? All right, Aaron. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Chaz, to your left, where did this rivalry rank when you were growing up? You know, starting to play football, and has it hit different once that you're playing against the Gators?
I didn't grow up a Georgia fan, so it wasn't really big for me growing up. But you know, once I'm here, you feel it. It's like Georgia Tech, it's like Florida. All of them you kind of feel a certain way about.
Chaz, what do you feel like allowed you guys as a defense to play as well as you did at Texas, and what needs to happen for you guys to have similar results on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it just came down to execution. We talked about it before the game. Obviously, there was interviews that led up to it, talking about the execution that we needed on defense. And, you know, honestly, coming up into that game, we didn't feel like we played our best game at all on defense. And we would come out of each game thinking like we lost because we just didn't play up to our standard, and we finally played up to our standard that game.
Yeah, Chaz, to go back to Florida, Georgia hasn't won 4 in a row in this series since the 80s. The group you came in with could accomplish that with a win on Saturday. Just what would that mean to you and the rest of the the 21 class that you came in with?
Yeah, I mean, it's just an accomplishment in itself, you know, to go 4-0 against any SEC team. Every single team in the SEC is capable of beating anybody every single weekend. Going 4-0 against one opponent is a great achievement.
Chaz, can you talk, what does it mean that you might come back on the field? And Kirby said he's still not 100% or wasn't 100%, but he was obviously effective. But what difference does he make for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, his talent, his size, his speed. You know, you can put him in a 4-eye, you can make him stunt into the A gap, you can make him off the edge. You know, just a versatile player. You can put him anywhere, and he just affects the game when he's in.
Yeah, Chaz, I was reading the packet that they provide us. Did you know that Nas is making his 36th consecutive start this weekend? And I guess, could you speak to what it requires for a defensive lineman in this conference to start 36 games in a row?
Yeah, I mean, it just takes toughness. First off, I mean, someone who plays his position knows that you're getting doubles every single week, having 600 pounds on you every single game day, and, you know, for him to stay healthy and for him to be able to play through all those games is just a testament to his toughness.
Chaz, can we get a kind of a recap of your journey at Georgia and your development here, where you started and where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, coming in, I came in under a bunch of great players. They developed me to where I am today, and I still talk to them. Nolan kind of took me under his wing. Beal took me under his wing and just kind of, led me in the direction that I needed to go. Without those guys, I wouldn't be able to be in the place that I am now.
Just could you give us a little assessment of Florida's offense? Obviously, Lagway's now running the show at quarterback, and looks like the running back from Georgia really kicked it in gear here recently. What do you see from them? What do you got to do to defend them?
Yeah, I mean, you can look across the league about how a running quarterback affects the game. You go back to LSU, Texas A&M. I mean, it completely changed the dynamic of the game when the quarterback's able to run it. It makes you prepare for more stuff. We've struggled in the past with running quarterbacks, and we have to prepare and know what's coming, know the copycats that we're going to get, and, just prepare, perfectly this week.
Talk about that you guys, weren't happy with where you were defensively before the Texas game. Was that a matter of not being locked in? Was it a bad matchup with Mississippi State? And, how do you bring it this week, you think?
All goes back to execution. We looked at ourselves. We did self-scout. We went to the doctor, we call it, and we just looked at everything that, led to scores. We had too many penalties. We had too many busts. We didn't have great eyes. And we worked on it very well throughout the week. Everybody was locked in throughout the week. It just always comes down to execution because Georgia only beats Georgia.
It's kind of an offbeat question, but the number 32 for a defensive end, is there a story behind that number? Or is that just what you got assigned, or anything special about it for you?
That's just what I've always worn. I always liked the players that worn it. I really liked Tyrann Mathieu when I was growing up. Not because I played his position, but I just like how he played the game.
Another question for Chaz?
Just how's morale with Dan and Jonelle, and what do you say to them knowing that, as it stands right now, they won't be there for the first half, just kind of keep their spirits up, knowing when they do come in, they're going to be needed?
Yeah, I mean, it's football. It happens, and with the rules now, I mean, it's just going to happen. Both those were bang-bang plays. Nobody really tried to spear anybody or hurt anybody. We just, got to work on technique and keeping our head out of the tackles. But, I mean, for those guys, it's going to be important for them to lead the younger guys, the guys who are stepping up in their places throughout the first half.
A minute ago, we had Aaron in here, and he was talking about, bringing your own juice game because the pregame's a little bit different for this game than it is maybe an on-campus game. What are some things that you do or you can do, I guess, to maybe get the intensity going in the pregame?
Just don't rely on outside voices. Don't rely on anything else. I think we do a great job of, getting each other ready before the game, those pregame hits, try to make it as real as possible, and just try and get everybody, just locked in. I mean, if you're not locked in, you're going to focus on outside things.
Okay, thank you, Chaz.
A few housekeeping notes as we get out the door here on Sports Tonight. First off, the Yankees facing elimination in Game 4 against the Dodgers of the World Series. Dodgers up 3-0, and the Yankees have changed their lineup, so could all be over tonight. And then also worth mentioning, the Falcons coming off that big win over the Bucs in the division, undefeated in the division. They will host the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday at the Benz. Also a very cool collab going on between the Falcons and Outcast, sending out some gear that will represent that collab. It will be interesting to see what else may be in store with that as well. For your Falcons latest, we will have boots down in Flowery Branch or up in Flowery Branch tomorrow with all the latest between that matchup. But for tonight, I'm Baillie Burmaster. This has been Sports Tonight at Night. Make sure to join us throughout the rest of the week. Have a good week.